it to stay in formation?
Well, each of the pilots isn't actually looking at their instruments right now. They're actually looking at the aircraft in front, and they're using the cues from Roulette leader, who's Squadron Leader Jamie Braden, and he's calling the commands as they change formation. So there you go, you see them go from eagle to wedge formation over the top.
How long does it take you to train to feel confident about taking part in something like this?
So there's a lot of training that goes into a workup like this. Each of our pilots that are flying today are flying instructors, so they're some of the most senior members of our CFS, which is our Central Flying School.
And the Roulettes are going to give us this display for the next 10 minutes or so, which makes me feel pretty lucky because we've got a great view of it all. But is that how long the display's going to go?
This is a normal display that we will do. They're usually around 14 minutes, and it's a display of formation and aerobatic maneuvers. So these aerobatic maneuvers and the formation positions are taught to all military pilots, but obviously not so close to the ground and not so close to one another. So as you can see now, they're pulling up into a wing over, and then they'll come back over the crowd line again, and I hope there's lots of people down there having a good view of this from the ground.
Well, I bet they are, because they're, we've got cameras up on Mount Ainslie, and people in Canberra certainly had the opportunity to line Lake Burley Griffin. What are you wearing when you're on board?
So we wear a flying suit, and over that we wear what's called a G suit. So what that is, it's like a second pair of pants that we wear, and it's full of ladders, and that plugs into the aircraft, and as we pull G over the top, like now, that air is, those pants are filling up with air, and what that does is it helps us be able to withstand a higher G. So during the manoeuvres today,
so your body's being squeezed.
The body's being squeezed, and also you're squeezing your muscles against that to help keep the blood in your head.
Keeping blood in your head is probably a good idea when you're up there, upside down.
Definitely. So these pilots today, while they're up flying, the aircraft can actually sustain up to 8G, but during today's display, it will be about 4 to 5G.
Right, 8G. Have you done 8G?
No. And I think most of our manoeuvres work around 6G, yes, but 8G is a lot. And usually it's just instantaneous time.
Is it bad for them to ask you if you've been there sick?
I think every pilot in Canberra just felt a little bit ill. And it's one of those things that we get conditioned for. We do it all the time, and even after Christmas holidays, you haven't flown for a while, you come back, and you can feel a bit queasy when you go up, but you do it more and more and you get used to it.
Also, too much Christmas pudding can put you out of shape. Roulette pilots suffer the same thing that the rest of us do. Who knew?
So now what we're seeing is the formation move to swift. What they'll do now is they'll turn around and come back from the right and across the crowd centre, and they'll move into a position called leader's benefit. This is actually quite a challenging manoeuvre because the pilots 2 to 6 actually have to turn their heads quite substantially to keep in line in position. So here they come round now.
So you're telling me that they're not actually looking at their instruments, they are looking at the plane next to them.
They are actually turning their head as far as they can to see the person next to them to make sure they're in position directly in line with one another as they go past.
How old were you when you started flying?
I was 16 when I went out to my local aero club, and my parents I had fantastic parents that were able to drive me out there before school and learn to fly.
Because you couldn't drive yourself?
No, I couldn't drive myself. And I've just been so lucky to be able to have a fantastic career in Air Force, to be able to fly something like a KC-30 and then come back and fly the PC-21. It's such a fun aircraft to fly.
Is it something you always wanted to do as a child?
Yeah, it is. And it's just amazing that Air Force has been able to give me that opportunity to fulfill my dream.
And Amy, you and I discovered a lovely connection in the process of getting to know each other for this wonderfully significant ceremony and fly past today, and that is that my father served in World War II in number 1 wireless unit,
yes.
And your granddad?
Yes, he served in number 3 wireless unit. So we actually were looking at some pictures yesterday. Now just looking at the roulettes, you're seeing them pull over to another loop. happen now is they come back down, Roulette 5 and 6, who are Flight Lieutenant Lockie Hazeldy and Flight Lieutenant Mark Prince. They will break off the formation and they will get ready for their special manoeuvre, so we'll have to keep watching for that. Then once that happens, we'll have another manoeuvre that comes up along the crowd line, and then we'll see formation breakdown. So we saw the move from 6 and now they're entering formation.
Those wireless units we were talking about, Amy, were intercepting the Japanese Kana messages. It does go to show that this is not all about who's up in the air today. This is honouring so many other people on the ground, the 350,000 people who have served in this uniform since the Australian Air Force's foundation.
Yeah, and I think we need to look back at the history and what people have given up to be able to serve in the Air Force. And I'm here today because I was inspired by my grandfather, and I think a lot of people feel the same. And what we'll see now is we'll see Roulette 5 and 6 conduct the mirror. So we're seeing the 4 aircraft now come around. They'll be coming around for the corkscrew very soon. But what we've seen in the mirror, here we go, is the aircraft are within 3 metres of one another. We have Roulette 5 is actually inverted with Roulette 6. So this is the point where we really hope Lockie did his straps up tight, because otherwise he's hanging there upside down in his aircraft. And there's just nothing like seeing the world upside down. I can't explain it, it's a whole body experience. He's also inverted, and then we have Roulette 4, Flight Lieutenant Ben Hepworth, who's actually conducting barrel rolls around the formation. We've also got there Roulette 2 and 3. Roulette 2 is Flight Lieutenant Nathan Stankovic, and Roulette 3 is Flight Lieutenant Daniel Barclay. So many hours of practice have gone into making this display as significant as it can be.
How many women are in the roulettes?
It's just me, I'm afraid, but
we'll have to change that.
Oh, we're totally changing that. It's so great to see so many girls coming through and learning to fly the PC-21 in all 3 services.
You've noticed it, have you?
I have.
Even in the time you've been with the RAAF?
Yeah, because when I went through Coursera, I was the only one, but now we're seeing a lot more girls coming through. And that's one of the things that's really important to me, is to promote how it's such a great job, and that young girls, you can do it. Just go out there and give it a go.
With the rehearsals for these, the training, do you do a bit of the sequence?
So we learn each manoeuvre, so that it's definitely a gradual process. So you'll learn to do formation, what we refer to as formation aerobatics. So that's aerobatics where it may be just 2 of you, but you do that, you learn that, and then you learn to do that close to the ground, and then you put 2 more aircraft in there, and you learn another piece, and it gets put together like that.
But when you first joined the roulettes, it's just you sort of getting a feel for it, that flying upside down business that you love so much.
So all military pilots learn to fly aerobatics, so flying upside down, and formation. Aerobatics and formation, they're a core military skill for a military aviator.
So how many hours are we talking about with training?
That's a hard question now. You got to remember, I flew the PC-9 when I did my training, so now I've come back to fly the PC-21, so it's a little bit
This, correct me if I'm wrong, Amy, but is this the first time the roulettes have flown this particular aircraft over Canberra in the first place? Because this is the new aircraft.
Yeah.
It's only been with us.
People down there had their cameras ready, getting awesome photos of that one.
Oh, well, the good thing is we're cutting up a highlights package, so everyone can watch this over and over again. No moment is going to be missed. Don't you worry, Amy.
So now we have the formation pulling up, and they'll be doing a wing over and then into a barrel roll. And this is I love the look of this manoeuvre as the formation pull up into that. So we'll just keep watching, and we'll see that happen very soon. So the smoke you see coming from the aircraft is actually actually a mixture of oil and fuel. Not only does it look really impressive for the formation, but it also helps with safety. It enables each member of the formation to be able to spot each other very quickly.
I've been worried though in the past watching the roulettes that smoke can then create a blind spot for the pilots if they're following behind some smoke.
Yeah, no, it's very choreographed, and roulette leader tells each member when to turn his smoke on, when to turn it off. So here you go with the barrel. So these aircraft can travel up to 600 During today's display, some of the flight are down to 200 feet, and aerobatic maneuvers is 500 feet. All the positioning and formations are within 3 meters from one another, and it's all hand flown, no autopilots today.
And is that 3 meters at the same altitude?
Yes, yes.
That is incredible, Amy.
And if you saw pictures from looking from one aircraft to the other, you just see the face looking at you, because they're using the cues of the aircraft in front just to make sure they're in position.
So you can really see the whites of their eyes.
Oh yeah, well, not quite, because you've got your biases down. So, and now we're getting ready for the quarter plover. So the quarter plover will lead into the cascade, which will be the final manoeuvre. It's awesome, and it will look fantastic down there near the lake.
How often are you doing displays and fly pasts these days? I mean, taking 2020 out of the equation.
Every couple of weeks we're out and about doing different displays and formations, and people can actually request a roulette display. They just need to go onto the Air Force website and look up roulettes, and there's a form they can fill out and put in their request to Air Force to have us come out to their video event, whatever that may be.
Right, okay, it's my sister's 15th birthday later this year. Can I request a roulette?
Maybe not, Lisa, maybe not that type of event, but definitely community groups and local towns, things like that. If they're having something with their information in, and it will be Air Force. And here we go to work out what we Now what will happen is roulette leader will call each member back into the formation, and they will head back over to Canberra Airport and land back in. So they'll probably be on the ground before they're reaching again.
That is terrific. Where are they heading back to?
So we'll be landing here in Canberra. My aircraft's still parked out there, so it'll be there waiting for its mates to come back. So they will land, and we're staying the night again tonight, so they can enjoy the celebration.
Amy Hill, great to have you here. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.